Michelle with PCARE, and thank you for joining me on another episode of Summer of Schemas. This episode is called Vulnerability to Harm, and I have a special guest with me, Miss Dana Farrington.
Hi, how are you guys doing today? Thank you so much for
Thank you
allowing
for
me to come.
thank you for joining us, Dana. All right. So if you guys have been following me, you guys know about vulnerability to harm already, but I'm going to give a quick recap. So people with the vulnerability to harm schema, they might avoid things that scare them, be on the constant lookout for danger, or be very superstitious. People with this schema might feel anxious, helpless, or out of control. And people with this schema always fear that something is lurking in the background, that something could happen at any moment. Like they do a lot of fortune telling or catastrophizing, like worst case scenario. On this next slide, I am going to give you guys a visual of what it looks like to have a vulnerability to harm schema with this short film through Disney called Inner Workings. So just for before we move into the game, what are your thoughts about the video, Dana?
I thought it was a great representation of what we were talking about today. It's so great to see it in such a lighthearted way, you know?
Yes, he definitely. It was one part that I got really tickled. Like, I don't know how he went from trying on sunglasses to thinking that he was going to end up cutting so many different pieces, but that's how our mind goes sometimes when we
Mhm.
catastrophize. That was definitely an exaggeration of worst case scenario, but I thought it was so funny.
Yeah.
But it just kind of shows like how vulnerability to harm can hinder us. Um, if we let our false alarms run away with us, if we don't
Mhm.
like our anxious brain, or the part of our brain that tells us about danger, it sometimes get confused. It doesn't really know the difference between real or imagined danger, and it's up to us to kind of rationalize it and challenge it in our minds and not just take it for truth.
Mhm.
And so with this game, Brain Busters, hopefully we will be able to demonstrate what that looks like.
Mhm.
All right.
Yeah.
So Dana and I are going to be competing against each other. So here we go.
The name of the game is Safe or Sorry. The core idea, you're going to imagine that you're running a mental security system. Every situation triggers an alert, but not all alerts are real danger. Your job is to decide whether the alarm is a real threat or a false alarm. Are you ready? All right, let's get to it. So, this is your clue. Some alerts are helpful and some are false alarms. Your job is to be able to tell the difference. The rules are that you trust your first instinct and then you label each situation a real threat or a false alarm.
All right. Scenario number one, you feel your heart racing while sitting still. Okay. Is that a
Hmm.
real threat or a false alarm? I am going to go first. To me, that is a false alarm because I always feel that way and nothing's really going on. My heart is always kind of racing because I'm an anxious person. So I hit the false alarm for that one.
Yes, I will definitely go with false alarm for me as well. And talking in front of people right now, I can definitely understand about that as well.
All right. No real danger. We're just anxious to be anxious. All right. And so the reveal, kind of what we just said, that the most common explanation is an anxiety response. It can be caused by stress or just a normal adrenaline spike. The body can signal danger even when none exists. All right, let's move on to the next one. All right, you see a missed call from a family member. Is it a real threat or a false alarm?
Hmm.
I'm gonna go with my first instinct. If I'm being honest, it is a real threat to me. And that is because sometimes I have experienced phone calls that were actually real threats. And so my brain has conditioned me when I get a missed call, I go to worst case scenario. So the first thought that comes to my mind, oh, it's a real threat. Oh, it's something wrong. And the same thing if I call them and they don't answer on the first three calls, my mom knows I'm going to stalk her to death. Like she's gonna have 20 missed calls from me until she answers. So it's going to a real threat for me.
For me, it's gonna be a false alarm because at this point in my time, I know a bunch of teenagers. So when I try to call them back, they do not call back and they say we are all texting. So I'm gonna be interested to see what this is.
Okay, the reveal. So it seems like you have the most rational approach. So the person called by accident, They needed something minor, or they're just going to call you back later. So you had the most rational approach while I just went down the slippery slope of catastrophizing. And the schema trap is kind of what I mentioned at the beginning. Like because of my past experience, I go to vulnerability to harm. Like the unknown, what I don't know, um, seems like it's dangerous to me. It turns into danger.
Definitely understand where that comes from.
Okay. Your head feels slightly dizzy after standing up quickly. Is it a real threat or a false alarm?
So this one for me feels like a real threat.
Mhm.
I would be worried about this one. So I mean, if this happened to me, I would be worried about feeling dizzy. So I'm gonna go with real threat for this one.
I said real threat as well, only because it could very well, like we talked about experience, this could very well be a real threat for me because I have epilepsy. So I have
Mm,
to learn the signs of my body, and one of those is dizziness. So that's going to always be better safe than sorry for me. It's going
mm,
to be a real threat. That means I need to go lay down somewhere in case I have a seizure. So that's
mhm.
a real threat for me. And like we said, it's based on your experiences. So it might not be a real threat to anybody else. It could be a false alarm. So you just have to kind of challenge that based on your own experiences. The reveal. It could be the likely cause could be a blood pressure shift, dehydration, or normal body response. Not all sensations are signals of harm, so it really just depends on the person and their history. Yeah,
That's good, especially this time of year when it's so hot.
yeah, I'm not even going outside. I'll be home in my air conditioned house. All right. So this one, you hear an unexpected loud noise outside at night. Is this a real threat or a false alarm?
So for me, this is one where I would say it was a false alarm because I guess maybe I may and my mama would be like, Dana, you need to be worried about things, but I think I would an unexpected loud noise. I don't know if I would really be that worried about things nowadays, but that's just me.
Yeah, I put false alarm too.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I put false alarm, and I'm probably cheating because I have an actual alarm system. So if somebody's trying, and that gives me ease because if somebody's trying to get in, I rationalize like, okay, the alarm's gonna get if they hit on the door too loud, or if they try to get in, then my actual alarm system is gonna alert me. So I'm not really worried about just sounds, and because I live
Hmm.
so close to people. I'm like, oh,
Hmm.
it's probably somebody next door. It's probably somebody walking because people walk late in my neighborhood. So I'm better at rationalizing it. So I put false alarm.
I'm definitely one that living in where I'm out where I am, it's loud noise. You might hear something out there in the country, but I just got back from New York, so when I heard loud noises back then, that was a real threat. So I'm interested to see what we say now.
All right. So possible explanations. It could be a car door. It could be somebody taking out trash. Could be your neighbor. Um, Schema pattern. The mind fills in the worst case when information is incomplete. So if we don't have enough evidence, we can't assume that it's the worst case scenario. I'm interested to see. All right, so we are now going to count our alarms. We're going to count how many real threats we had, and how many false alarms we had. So if I'm looking, I have one, two, two. All right, so I'm kind of even. I had two real threats and two false alarms.
Same here. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Let's see where we are. Okay, so if we had the scoring is if you had 0 to 1 real threats, You have a balanced safety system. So you're able to tell the difference between actual danger and normal life uncertainty. Your alarm system is calibrated well. If you've had 2 to 3 real threats marked, you have a sensitive alarm system. You sometimes lean towards caution and may overinterpret uncertainty as risk, but you can still do a reality check. Okay. And that's kind of normal when you have people who have anxiety.
Hmm.
Uh, they're able to tell the difference, but they still are overly cautious.
Yeah,
And
I
then
agree.
if you have 4+ real threats, you have an overactive threat detector. And so if your threat detector is overactive, you might have severe anxiety, or you might have a history of severe trauma or chronic trauma that's making you hyper vigilant. Okay. All right, congratulations to us both. We were able to kind of challenge our thoughts, work through them. So I
Mhm.
would say we defeated the schema.
Mhm.
We didn't let the schema get the best of us.
Yeah, yeah. I can say too that I would have answered differently in different season in my life. So I think that's important as well too. To kind of say that, that I have defeated the schema, but that's with some work.
Mhm. Yeah, in my 20s, I would have been the one at 4+ in my
Hmm.
20s. So yeah, and without doing the work and without having the knowledge,
Hmm.
uh, of schemas and core beliefs and without, CBT and learning how to reframe and challenge things. So it did take quite a bit of work to get me there. So, and I know I have a lot of work to do if
Hmm.
I want to get underneath, underneath too. But I mean, at least I'm balanced. I'm good.
Yep, agreed.
All right, just with a little bit of discussion. We kind of already talked about that. What was our response to the threats? We talked about that as we went through. So we're going to go with the second one. What do you think contributes to people having different responses to threats?
Hmm.
And so, Dana, you mentioned something that was very valuable. That really it depends on the season that you're in your life and the experiences that you had, because you could be going through something currently
Hmm.
that might make you hyper vigilant, that might make you overactive because of what you're going through.
Yeah, yeah. Um, and I also think it is something when you have people around you and you have a healing environment and people that kind of understand that safe space. I think that is also something that can kind of help you along as well. So I think that can change your response to the threat because if you're vulnerable, if you feel like you can be vulnerable enough to share that with other people, then that helps you with being able to detect it in a different way.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I want to kind of touch on like the seasons too, because I think that, I said in my 20s it would have been higher, but the thing that asked about like standing up too quickly and feeling dizzy,
Yes.
I probably wouldn't have perceived that as a real threat, you
Hmm.
know, prior to being diagnosed with epilepsy, which
Hmm.
was just a few years ago that I was diagnosed. Like
Hmm.
standing up too quickly, I would have just kind of brushed it off like, oh, I just stood up too quickly, that I'm
Right.
not at risk of anything. But it's the season that you're going through. Now I have something different to consider because of the season that I'm in, which made me mark it as like a real threat.
Yeah.
I think that was very insightful, and I'm glad that you mentioned that it's the season that you're in.
Yes, I definitely can agree that even thinking about that and now in my 40s that um and looking at my high blood pressure, that was not something I was thinking about in my 20s. So you're right, definitely I wasn't thinking about that at that time. So being more mindful of my salt and that kind of stuff. I am definitely dizziness. That's the first thing I was thinking is like, Dana, are you dehydrated? Have you drank enough water? So.
Right. All right, you guys. As always, I appreciate you for watching and tuning in with me for Summer of Schemas. We always try to do a little lighthearted activity, but schemas and navigating your core beliefs are very serious topics.
Mhm.
If you feel like any of these schemas that we go through resonated with you, and if even after watching this you feel like you are in the high alert category with anxiety, I encourage you to reach out to a licensed professional like Dana or myself or any others to help you navigate this difficult space so that you can enter a new season in your life, and begin your healing season. This is Rochelle with Lost and Found with PCARE and Dana Ferriton, and we thank you for watching.
Thank you.